Howdy goons, minions, and soon-to-be servants of the Nimzy Nova Empire. The hate train on Nintendo is in full force, as usual, and people, mostly YouTubers, are overreacting to any bit of news about the Switch that they can. Like the sun will explode because IGN didn't get their free console and games 2 weeks early. Yes, that's the new tea. And it is lukewarm. YouTubers are really getting upset over literally anything to make $1 more in ad revenue this month. But Nimzy here doesn't get ad revenue yet. Also, I may be evil, but tricking people and whipping them into a frenzy isn't in my plans for world domination. That's the thing you have to worry about with Nintendo news. You have people who will ride Nintendo until sore, or people who will make a career off of hating them. There is no moderate voice. So yes, news outlets aren't receiving early versions of the Switch 2 and its launch lineup. IGN will have to wait till launch for their free console and games just before putting out a biased review anyway because they're scared Nintendo won't give them free stuff anymore if they're mean. For those of you who don't know, I'm a former games journalist. I have a little info on how this stuff works, but most of that stuff is common knowledge by now anyway. These news outlets rely on early access to the hardware to get ahead of small YouTubers and small news outlets. It's the top who are already not having to struggle at all, continuing to be pampered and shown favoritism. The main reason news outlets are complaining is because they now have to balance going to Summer Game Fest and releasing the Switch 2. Here's a quote from one of the journalists. "It's really frustrating. We need to cover Switch 2 while also working across Summer Game Fest. How are we supposed to do that?" Again, my tiniest violin solo goes out to them. Poor things. But these news outlets work in teams, so there is plenty of people to handle the review process. The whole building isn't going to Summer Game Fest, just a few select employees. You might be thinking, we need the reviews to be out early so we can decide whether to buy them. I can get that. I can understand that. That makes sense. But the majority of people watching the reviews are people who weren't going to buy the Switch 2 at launch anyway. They're waiting for the reviews to come out first. If they're not planning to buy at launch in the first place, then why does the review need to be out before launch? Because these news outlets are threatened by YouTubers and independent news sites. They're not threatened by me specifically. No one knows who I am. But see, these companies are big. They require the early access to make their money before the small news sources come in and get the leftovers once the sharks are done eating. They don't like not receiving early copies because it puts them on a more even playing field with smaller media. It'll take them a while to get those reviews out because the teams are large and harder to organize, and the review production is much more costly for someone like IGN. Meanwhile, we have YouTubers like me who will play the Switch 2 24/7 to give you an honest review in a timely fashion. Day one, you're going to see a lot of review in progress videos from outlets like IGN. Meanwhile, a lot of YouTubers will be on their 12th hour of streaming them playing it live. So excuse me if I don't feel bad for large companies and their special treatment that is done at the expense of everyone else. The next issue is that companies like IGN are going to give out a biased review. So you might think you need this review from like these major news outlets. You don't. Most of them are lying to you anyway. You probably know this, but news outlets are often in deals with developers. Most of the time it's free review copies, and they'll give an extra nice review if the gaming company is large enough or famous enough. This is because if you give bad reviews to a major company, they might choose to not send you free stuff anymore, or more importantly, you'll lose the privilege of early access. We live in an age where anyone can be a news anchor. Critical has more cultural and social impact than any news organization these days. My niece watches Critical, and she's 13. The other reviews are, of course, paid ones. Some companies will pay or send extra free goodies in order to get an even better review. Isn't it weird how IGN's reviews always lean on the more positive side? Also, haven't you noticed that they always focus on the more popular or well-known games? I wonder if some palms are maybe being greased there. The fact is with that kind of bias, you don't need news outlets to get early Switch 2s. They're going to be biased reviews. Maybe there'll be a few spiteful comments made like towards the end like, "Oh, sorry it took us so long to get these out, but you know, Nintendo was a big meanie head." But I'm someone who's very conscious of the free stuff bias, and I've always disclosed it in my articles. But as far as I know, I've never let a free game keep me from talking trash about it. Konami sent me the Castlevania collections, and I'll tell you right now, only Dominus is any good. The first two are garbage poopy that don't run right on many computers because of double FPS, which causes a 2x play speed, requiring you to use a third-party program to force the FPS down. They're straight up unplayable for me, and despite this being a known issue for 5 years, they've done nothing to fix it. You should emulate the classic and advanced games. Konami just did a horrible job porting them. Dominus slaps though. Perfect. but the free bias is still very much a thing, and it's more so a problem in big news outlets since they'll lose that early bird advantage. With a small channel like mine, you can trust that I'll give you an honest opinion on the games and the system. That's because, like many of you, I will be paying for the system with my own money and the games too. I'll even be streaming me using the system at launch. Unless there's some sort of issue with shipping, porch pirates, or the internet, I'll be on twitch.tv/NimzyNova. I'll be unboxing, playing with it, and playing the games live the moment it comes in. I'm just saying, this isn't some big ill omen. This is a large purchase that people who are waiting on reviews for will continue to wait for. Most of them are going to wait as long as they need to. As I've said, you really don't want a review from these news outlets in the first place. There's a lot of dishonesty behind the scenes. Pick a YouTuber you like and trust, and wait for their thoughts on it. I don't even mean me. If you trust me, cool, you hardly know me. But I'll tell you now though, I'm not a Nintendo super fan. I love the games and nostalgia, but the company can reek at times. Then again, most companies reek. So if it sucks, I'll let you know. Personally, I haven't touched my Switch 1 in 2 years. I played my Wii U more recently. It was to play Bayonetta though. I just don't have a copy of Bayonetta on the Switch. Anyway, just sharing my thoughts on this. I'm of course open to hearing what you all have to say below. But for now, I'll see you all next time. Bye! Bye 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 bye.